Beagle Freedom Project and a Center for a Humane Economy. We were their rescue partners, and they were negotiating with Ridgeland's attorneys to see what could be done to get these beagles released. And ultimately, that's what happened, is that the negotiations worked, and we were able to get 1,500 beagles released from Ridgeland, which is epic.
That's Shannon Keith, the founder and president of Beagle Freedom Project, who has been involved in the incredible victory at Ridgland Farm to free 1,500 beagles from this breeding site where beagles are bred for the animal testing industry. You may have seen the news from Ridgeland, and in this episode, we're going behind the headlines. Shannon tells us about the negotiations that went on behind the scenes, and she's also telling us about the ongoing effort to get the beagles out, get them to safety, and ultimately get them into loving homes. But we also talk about legislative strategies and the different campaign styles that have helped to secure this huge victory at Ridgeland. And let's not forget, a lot of charities and animal rights campaigners have been involved in this. We are also talking, though, about the insanities that are going on in the animal testing industry. For example, did you know that Marshall Bioresources trademarks its animals? If you can't tell the difference between an MBR beagle and the one snoozing maybe on a couch near you, it's because there is none. But they want you and their workers to believe that. As you can probably tell, I'm a huge fan of Shannon and of Beagle Freedom Project, so much so that I've featured them in Wunderdog magazine 3 times in a row. Let's start off by asking Shannon to introduce herself and her charity.
Thank you so much for having us, and thanks so much for what you do. I really appreciate all the work that you do and the awareness that you bring.
Thanks.
I'm the president and founder of Beagle Freedom Project, and wow, we've been around now for over 15 years. I started the organization with the rescue of 2 beagles named Freedom and Bigsby, who I was able to liberate from a laboratory in Northern California. They came from a toxicity testing lab, and the rescue of these 2 beagles really changed my life, and rescuing them gave birth to Beagle Freedom Project, which is a charity dedicated to not only rescuing animals from animal testing, but also legislating to change and end animal testing. So our motto is to legislate, educate, and rehabilitate and end animal testing altogether. Our signature legislation is the Beagle Freedom Bill, which is a very vanilla bill, actually, to mandate the release of animals when animal testing is over, which is hard enough because the animal testing industry really doesn't want the information out there. But to date, now 15 years in, we've rescued over 4,000 animals from animal testing facilities across the globe.
It's incredible. And just to clarify also, when you're talking about bills, you have a legal background, right? This is not just done through third hands. You are the legal expert here. Is that correct?
True, yes. I'm an animal rights attorney, and I did this. I went into law just for the animals.
It's amazing. Now, the reason, obviously, why we're talking, Shannon, is there is a huge story still developing. It's Ridgland Farm. It's not been such a big story here in the UK, but I understand in the US, the media has really taken to this. Talk us through what happened at this farm.
Yeah, so Ridgland Farms is the second largest breeding facility and involved in the animal testing chain, if you will. So the largest one is Marshall Farms, which you also have in the UK, and you all are very aware of that one. The
Yes, we
Camp
are.
Beagle. Yeah.
Yes, the
We
Camp Beagle, shout out to them.
Yep. Shout out to Camp Beagle. You guys rock. You got MBR acres there, and then we've got Marshall here in New York. And then the second largest one has been Ridgland Farms, and it's been around for decades. And so they also have a small testing factor there as well. And so what happened is they've been the subject, just like Marshall has, of several USDA violations. Of course, nothing gets done because, our governmental agencies don't do anything. It's like a slap on the wrist until activists started really putting the pressure on. And then finally, a judge in Wisconsin got a special prosecutor involved, and the special prosecutor noted the violations and, unfortunately, though, cut a deal with Ridgeland. So instead of issuing felony citations and shutting down Ridgeland, they cut a deal with Ridgeland and said, okay, instead of shutting you down and issuing these felonies, we'll cut a deal whereby we'll remove your state license for breeding, and you have to get rid of all your breeder beagles by July 1st. So, like, in less than a month. And so
Uh-huh.
that's what happened. A horrible deal. Horrible. And so we all freaked out, going, okay, great. What's going to happen to the beagles? This was back in January, I believe. What are they going to do?
Yes.
Because we know that they do well, not only do they sell them to laboratories, obviously that's what they do, is sell them to labs for testing, but they also do things like kill them and sell the parts. So we started thinking, like, what can we do strategically to make sure that these beagles are safe? And so legal minds got together, and then while that was happening, also um, other activists were doing other things. And so I'm sure many people saw the protests getting involved, the open rescues, and then we were also negotiating separately. So we weren't involved in that Beagle Freedom Project and a Center for a Humane Economy. We were their rescue partners, and they were negotiating with Ridgeland's attorneys to see what could be done to get these beagles released. And ultimately, that's what happened, is that the negotiations worked, and we were able to get 1,500 beagles released from Ridgeland, which is epic. And not
It's
only that,
unbelievable. Yeah.
thank you. But actually, tomorrow we get 135 more out.
It's incredible. And at the same time, it's also so horrific to think not only that they were there in the first place, but also the conditions. I mean, they were just kept in crates and it just seemed like just they were completely forgotten, right?
Yes. Yeah, completely. It's I think it's hard for people to imagine. First of all, this goes on, right? Because most people don't know it goes on. And then to think about the circumstances and how they live, like you said, right? And that they're born there, and it, the females are used for breeding. And so, like, for example, my friend has one of them. She lives around the corner. We named her Mabel. And she's 8, but she looks like she's 15, because she is exhausted, and she was used for breeding her whole life, and she's completely shut down. It's been a couple weeks now, and she's still so scared and just tired, and it's gonna take her a really long time to trust
Yeah.
and come out of her shell.
Poor Mabel, but it sounds like she's just won the lottery. So I hope she can sleep it off eventually.
She will.
Can
She totally
yeah.
will.
Oh, bless. Just on a side note, I spoke to someone last week about the greyhounds, which is a big story here in the UK, sort of trying to end greyhound racing. And what you just said, I think, is so important that we actually start giving these dogs names. Greyhounds that race have these hideous show names, but they don't really have a normal pet name. And just for you actually naming this beagle that probably just has a number tattooed in its ear, just gives it so much more of a personhood, right? So now the dog can actually go to the vet and has a name and has an owner and probably has a tag and things. I think this little
Yes.
thing is so important. But
But
coming back to, yeah, coming back to the serious issue, can you just clarify, Ridgeland Farm, is the business done now? Is the business closed down, or can they open somewhere else again?
yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because no, it's not. And that's another disappointing part of the deal that the prosecutor made, is that they were still able to retain their research license. So we're not aware of how much research they actually had done in the past or do. We don't think it's really very much, but they are still in business and they're able to retain a business. Now, having said that, the good news is that we're pretty sure they're done and over with. I mean, the majority of their beagles are gone. And having done the calculations, while we don't know exactly how many beagles are left, I'm going to venture to guess it's less than 300, probably way less than that. I can't say for sure, and I don't want to say and be wrong. But I think it's way less than that. Um, so for them to do any type of real business with that number is going to be really hard for them. And I think that they're going to quote unquote get rid of the rest of those beagles, and we're hoping to us. So I think they're done.
Yeah.
Is my gut feeling. Um, it,
Okay.
I just don't see anything being sustainable for them. Their reputation is pretty much done for, I mean, there's been
Yes.
so much public outcry. I don't know who would continue to do business with them.
Now let's talk about this huge number of dogs that you've already mentioned. It's just mind-boggling to think how many beagles have been rescued. Can you tell me what the status is? And I believe you've even just come back in the last few days from getting yet more beagles out. Just give us an idea of where you are at the moment with this massive rescue.
Yeah. So it's been awesome. Also, we sort of touched on a little bit bittersweet, right? Because there's still beagles in there who, we're trying to get out. But the beagles who we've gotten out, they're so different, right? Just like you and I, we all have individual personalities. Some are just like they light up immediately and they're so excited and like, oh my gosh, what is this great big world? What is a toy? What is a treat? While others are just really, really scared, but slowly coming out of their shells. And we love seeing the journeys that all of them are on. And I'm really, really glad you brought up the point about names and naming them, because it's a really big point and a really important point. And I always talk about that, about giving them an identity, rather than the name or number that is tattooed in their ears and, a tag in their ear, anything like that, because that is intentionally done by this industry to make sure that they don't have an identity, and also to create the cognitive dissonance with the workers in those facilities and in this field.
Yeah.
Because I've been doing this long enough. I've talked to a lot of people who work in these facilities who um, have, let's say, a dog at home and try to
Oh, wow.
convince me that they love their dogs at home, but the dog in the laboratory is different. The dog in the laboratory, known as 1B5X, is a research dog to them, born and
Yeah.
bred to be a tool. And they treat that dog totally differently than their dog at home, and they see them differently. Now, if that dog known by those digits would be Jimmy, that would be
Yes.
different, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because then it's like
Absolutely.
this dog has a name and an identity. And so, when we start giving them names, it really irks them and does something to them.
Yeah.
And so it's
So how
important
many
that
names did you have to come up with now? You had to come up with 1,300 names?
a lot of names, a lot of names.
How many
Yeah,
Mabels have there been?
I know, right? It's always a problem when there's like duplicate names, and we've already had like, 4,000 names from the past. So it's
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
So talk me through it. I mean, do you literally go to Ridgland Farm now and get the dogs out one by one? And then I'm guessing, do volunteers then take them on to onward journeys to other states? Because I'm guessing the immediate vicinity around Ridgland Farm can't just take 1,300 dogs in, right? Do they go across the US now?
Yeah, so the way that it has worked is, and I mean the logistics are crazy. So my team goes to Wisconsin, and kudos to Dane County Humane Society because that's where we've set up triage, right? Where we have
Hmm.
veterinarians and we have our volunteers. And then we have our transport vehicles, including our big RV. And those vehicles and people need to be pre-approved by Ridgeland. And
Oh,
then
okay.
they go to the property and they are allowed inside of Ridgeland to then go inside and pick up the beagles, and they have to carry them and load them into the vehicles and then go back to Dane County Humane Society, where then we triage them, meaning we get, the vets look them over, listen to their hearts, look at their teeth, their ears, everything. And then we microchip them and we give them vaccinations. And then at that point, we set them aside and either they're transported immediately if our transporters are ready to wherever they're going to go, or they wait for the next transport. And we either bring them back to our facility at Freedom Fields in Oklahoma, or they go to a partner humane society, or one of our fosters picks them up.
And that actually brings us beautifully to what you just said, Freedom Farms, because you are actually in this extraordinary position of dealing with such a number of dogs because you have Freedom Farms. I think that the greatest place for hope, as it were. I mean, tell us about it. Tell us about how it came about. It's such a great story.
Yeah,
I love it.
it's amazing. So Freedom Fields started a few years ago. So originally, Freedom Fields was an animal testing laboratory, and there was over 250 dogs and cats there who are being used for flea and tick testing. And I would write letters every year to this facility and every single facility in the United States that tested on animals, saying, hey, we might differ in our beliefs, but contact us if you need a place for these animals to go or if you're ready to relinquish them. And my letters were ignored by this person until one year. He called me and said, hey, you know what? I'm ready to get rid of some of my dogs. And I was like, yes. So for a couple of years, we would go there and rescue a bunch of his dogs and cats. And I started noticing, that we were getting more and more of his dogs and cats, and that he wasn't really doing as much business. And I thought, you know
Okay.
what? What the heck? I'm just going to take a stab at this and ask him if he would be willing to sell us his property and close his business. And I thought he would, like, I really thought he would laugh me off the line. Um, And I did it. I called him and I was like, listen, I know I might sound crazy, but would you be willing to just simply close your business and sell us your property? And he was like, maybe. I'm like, whoa, what?
What?
What is happening right now? So at first he wanted us to buy the property and buy his business. He thought that
Okay.
his business was worth like $1 million. And I said, listen, we're not gonna, we'll never buy your business. We're not gonna buy an animal testing business. So um we won't agree to that. We'll only buy the
Yeah.
property. Um and so that went back and forth for a long time until finally he agreed, fine, you don't have to buy my business. So, I wrote up a contract, and the contract involved also that he needed to relinquish his USDA license to not test on animals anymore because I didn't want him to be able to open up a business anywhere else, which he agreed to,
Yes.
which was really cool. And then also all the animals needed to stay, um, and so that we could obviously handle the care of
Uh-huh.
those animals. and he agreed to that as well. So, yeah, a couple of years ago, we purchased the land. We took custody of all of the animals in Nowata, Oklahoma, and turned that place into Freedom Fields. We broke down all the cages. We cut through all the electrical wires, and it was the greatest. So we've been reinventing it ever since, renovating it, and it's really, really beautiful. It's a great, beautiful
It's
space.
such
It's
a, yeah,
30
it's such a,
acres.
yeah, it is huge. I was going to say that. I mean, I've never visited, but I've seen the pictures of it, and we'll put the pictures on the Substack as well. And you've got some on the Beagle Freedom Project website as well. It is a real farm in the sense that we imagine an American farm. It's a huge drive. It's got kennel or had kennel spaces left and right, which are
Mhm.
now used for dogs to run around. It is a substantial property, and it is a real landmark to what you do, I think, as well. It's just, it's there and people can see that good things happen. I find it incredible.
Thank you. Yeah, it's every time I go there, I start crying, because it's like, wow, look at this. It's beautiful. And it was a place of torture, and now it's a place of beauty. And we have our farm animals there who came from animal testing, who are going to live out the rest of their lives there as well. And, a lot of people don't know that they test on horses and
Mhm.
alpacas and goats and pigs, and we have them there, and they're running on 30 acres of land. And, it's gorgeous and beautiful. So, yeah, we love it.
And coming back to the doggies, how many dogs are there now? So from Ridgeland to Freedom Farm, can you give us an idea of the numbers that have been transferred now?
At Freedom Fields right now, I think we've got like around 40 of them there.
Okay.
We don't want to have too many. We want them to go right into homes. And we have so many homes. I mean, there's so many people who want these dogs. So there's no need for them to go to a sanctuary when they can go into a home. So luckily
Yeah.
they're the majority of them are right into homes, and, we've got I think it's around 39 or 40 at Freedom Fields, but they're all getting picked up left and right, like, every day from Freedom Fields, and people are amazing because they're willing to fly in and then rent a car and drive to whatever state they live in to pick up
Yes.
these dogs. They're really dedicated.
I was going to ask you, but tell me a little bit about who these adopters are. Have they been long-term followers of Beagle Freedom Project, or have they just come to you through the news? And also, what are they like? Can you give us some anecdotes?
So, yeah, we've gotten applicants from across the board. So, fosters and adopters who have been with us for years, and also a lot of new people who I think have seen the news coverage and the social media footage and are just really excited and eager and want to help. And so we are fostering and adopting to a lot of new people and a lot of our older people, people who are diehards and who we love and who have done this for us before. But we have to be careful, obviously. It takes a very special person and a special family, and they go through our rigorous process and, our onboarding. And, you do have to understand that a lot of these beagles are very sensitive and they've been traumatized. They have PTSD. So it's not like adopting a normal dog and bringing that dog into your home who is going to, just pick up a toy and play and run around and understand your voice tonalities and all of that. I mean, you have to train yourself just like you're training your dog. Like when you elevate your voice or lower your voice, they don't even understand what that means, so it's a journey
Yeah.
for you and that dog. And so, it's very different.
Yeah, and
So
they've never been handled, right?
no, that will only
Yeah.
to be bred, and things like
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
they've only been handled in a negative fashion. And as we discussed before, they don't have names. So if you're saying something like, you know, good girl, Mabel, she doesn't even know what that means. So you have to train her to know what that means, that that's a good thing. And that's like, I call them newborns in adult bodies. Because for us, we are so conditioned to think she should understand that or she knows that, but she doesn't. And it's hard. It's hard for us. And also, they lived in a tiny cage where they slept, went to the bathroom, and ate and lived. So the potty training and all of that is also very difficult. And takes a lot.
Now they're newborns in a home. It
Yeah,
feels like the baby has just come home, even though the baby might be an adult beagle. It's incredible, isn't it?
exactly.
Have the adopters sort of taken on this your image of this sort of newborn? I really love that. So is this something that the adopters have taken on board as well?
They have, yeah. And I'll give you the example of Mabel again, just because I hear about her daily. Her amazing foster mom, Sasha, she's fostered and adopted a bunch of our beagles from animal testing labs. And she's just been a dream come true and amazing with her. And luckily she's got other dogs who are teaching Mabel the ropes. And that's another thing that we really love to do, is have another dog, at least one other dog in the home who can teach this dog how to be a dog, since they don't know how to be a dog. And
Like an older sibling,
yeah, exactly.
an older
Like
sister in the house.
scout. Yeah, uh-huh, exactly. Like they can teach you things and they can also bully you. They just know. Um
Yeah.
and yeah, and so her siblings are like, it's cool, like Sasha is a good person, you can trust her. Here's the food bowl, here's where we go potty, here's this, here's that. And so Mabel is slowly coming out of her shell. And so one anecdote is that for the first like week, Mabel literally would not move. Would not move.
Wow.
She just stayed in a corner, and we were just like, this is so sad. It's so pathetic. It is so sad. And then finally she got up and she walked outside. She followed the other beagles outside. She walked around and she laid, and she got a picture of this. I was crying in the doorway, and there was sun shining on her. And she just looked up and laid down and stretched
Oh,
out.
sweetheart.
And it was like, oh my God, she finally relaxed in the sunshine and was like, I call it the beagle breakthrough, where they're like,
Oh,
they
bless.
know, oh, this
Yeah.
feels so good. I'm free.
Oh,
So,
God.
yeah.
Oh, it's making me
It was
cry
awesome.
now.
Yeah, I know. Made me
Well,
cry.
I hope they all have their breakthroughs sooner rather than later, because I'm sure some of them shut down for quite a long time, right?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
just this, you've mentioned Freedom Farm as well, and now Ridgeland, but these two are victories still in a long line of other substantial victories. And I'm still thinking Marshall Bioresources is still going. Can you give me a little bit of an overview of where the industry is at? Because even though your charity is called Beagle Freedom Project, you are working to end animal testing across the board, aren't you?
Yes. Yes. And we're excited. This is a really amazing, exciting global time, in awareness for animal testing. It's being talked about all over the place. Our government is really excited about changing things. This morning, I had two Zoom calls with a member of the United States Senate and a member of the House, who
Amazing.
both want, yeah, and they both want to introduce legislation. So, we are on our path. I I think we're gonna see an end to animal testing in our lifetime, which I never thought we would ever see. So this is something that, we are fighting for every single day at Beagle Freedom Project, and I'm very hopeful. I'm very hopeful.
And of course, I think what we discussed, I think the first time that we met as well, Shannon, or that we spoke, was that the beagle is the, for want of a better word, the entry drug, because that's the
Mhm.
animal that everybody can relate to. And you mentioned earlier that other animals, like farm animals, are also being tested on, but perhaps it's harder to start this campaign with an alpaca or, with a lab rat or something, which, all of these animals deserve to be free and not be tested on, of course. But the beagle has been this symbol, hasn't it? And I think it's always important to point out that you are not here just for the dogs. You would never walk past another animal and say, screw you, you're staying. You want to get them all out, don't you?
Yeah, exactly. And like you said, I always call beagles the gateway drug. It's a joke, but
Whatever
it's
works, right? Whatever works.
yeah, I mean, and it really goes back to the first rescue I did, where it was this woman who worked at the lab who fought so hard to save these beagles. And she was blowing my mind, giving me all of this information that I never knew before. And that's when she said, "You know why they test on beagles, don't you?" And I said, "Well, no, not really, you know." And she said, "Well, it's because they're so friendly and docile and forgiving." And I was like, "What?" She's like, "Yeah, they're forgiving. We can test on them one day, and the next day we go to their cage and they're looking at us, wagging their tails again." And I was
Yeah.
crushed. I'm like, "Wow, this is crazy. Oh my God." And I thought, okay, you know, the majority of the general public has a dog or a cat. Most people can relate to dogs. Their dogs are their family members. They're not going to relate to a rabbit as much as a dog, or an alpaca. And so, since beagles are the primary breed of dog used, this is the best way to get people's foot in the door, is to call it Beagle Freedom Project, um, and raise awareness that way, and then introduce what we do to enlarge the circle of compassion with the general public. So that's what we do, and it seems to work very well. And yes, we've rescued so many other breeds of dogs. We've rescued cats, alpacas, horses, goats, pigs, rabbits, ferrets, mice, rats, fish, and sheep.
Fish. I'm sorry, I have to stop there. What, how do you, how
Yes.
do you test on a fish?
Yeah. Oh yeah, testing goes on fish. Zebrafish are, as of a few years ago, are like the new thing-ish that they're doing and testing on. The animal testing industry will stop at nothing. So yeah.
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 And coming to the earlier point as well that we said about the dehumanization of these animals. And I guess with fish, if you see a big school of them, then, it kind of feeds into that as well. One of the things I found extraordinary when I looked up on the Marshall Bioresources website was that they actually have a trademark symbol behind that animal. So it's a Marshall Beagle registered trademark, where you kind of
Yes.
think, what makes your beagle any different to a beagle that I have at home? But again, it feeds into this idea of putting them a sort of in a separate category to the pets, right? So I'm guessing that that's what they do across the board with all of these animals.
Exactly. Yeah, they've trademarked their animals, m- a Gonjan mini pig, their mongrel, their beagle, their ferret. And in fact, a couple of years ago, we got in quote unquote trouble with them, with Marshall, for having these pigs who got pregnant in a laboratory, and we got them out, and babies were born, and we posted them, and we tagged Marshall because we were just calling them out, and they went ballistic because they're a trademark. And we got threatened with legal action and everything because there were piglets, and they said that they
Trademark
can't be out
piglets.
in the world. Mhm.
Did they look specifically different to you, or did they just look like a piglet?
No, they're just regular
It's just
pigs.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's just
And
unbelievable.
so they told us we had to kill them.
Did
This
you?
is the first time I'm saying this ever out
Did
loud.
you?
Hell no.
I was going to
No.
say, I was going to stop this now. I was going to stop this interview immediately. You would
If
say
I said
yes, I
that,
would have
then
run out
kill
crying.
me. I hope you'd kill me.
Yes. I would send an electric shock through the recording system.
No, hell
Oh
no.
God, these
Mm.
people,
No,
honestly,
they're living at
they can't
Freedom
shut
Fields.
down fast enough.
They're all at Freedom Fields right now. I'll send you a video.
I'm glad to hear it.
Yeah,
And long may they live there happily.
yeah.
Shannon, you've mentioned at Ridgland Farm that there were lots of different groups involved, and your approaches are all quite different. So yours is very much based on negotiation, on writing letters. I feel a lot of your work has always been behind the scenes, but then, of course, at Ridgeland, there were a lot of people who were very much in front at the gates, breaking in, trying to literally run in, grabbing beagles, running out. Some of these people have now been charged. They face, I think, something like 30 years in prison. It's absolutely ridiculous. Obviously, nobody has been sentenced yet, but there's a lot of legal wrangling going on. And I'm wondering, for these two very different campaign styles, what are your thoughts on them? Is there a place for both of you in this? Do you feel that this is a joint victory, or do you feel that one approach might have more more of a future than the other?
Um, I definitely feel that there's a place for every type of activity and action and activism. I mean, I think it's great that people protest and bring that. I mean, what they did, they brought this to light, right? Like, I mean, they brought Ridgeland into the forefront and brought awareness. And there are specific people who pushed Ridgeland in front of a judge so that the judge would get the special prosecutor. So they did a lot, you know. There might be some things that I did not agree with that might have interfered with negotiations, you know, but in
Such as?
overall, I mean, I think that let's just put it this way. I think when there's something this big, I think that there should be more coordination, right? And
Mhm.
talks, you know. But you know, overall, I believe in protesting. I believe in activism. I believe in all types of passion. But when you're going to uh, do things at such a high level, when there's so many eyes on you, and you know there's also things happening behind the scenes, you just need to be careful, you know, to make sure nothing's going to be jeopardized, and vice versa. You know,
Fair enough.
everybody should make sure that things are going to run smoothly.
Your your approach isn't free, is it? I mean, you bought Freedom Farm. You're currently rehoming more than 1,000 dogs. This is a big money operation, isn't it? On the other hand, the people who literally just ran in and grabbed a beagle, for them, this could mean their personal liberty, their freedom. So my worry is that money and or freedom at some point could run out. I know that it can't be your worry because otherwise you wouldn't keep going. But please tell me that it's going to be okay and that your money isn't going to run out and that they aren't going to prison for 30 years. Am I unnecessarily worried?
Which part are you worried about?
The money, I mean, we're talking about big industry. So with Freedom Farm, for example, I think it was an individual business. That's right? Right? That
Yeah.
you basically convinced to shut down. But Marshall Bioresources, MBR, is a big business.
Mhm.
And I wonder who's going to have the longer breath to sit this one out, to shut them down. Who's going to have more money in the end to fight this? Would you, for
Yeah.
example, be able to buy MBR acres here in the UK, which breeds 2,000 beagles a year? And then, so this is my worry for this side of activism. And on the other side, and I know doesn't concern you, but just briefly, is also here in the UK, we have had people from Animal Rising being sentenced. None of them have actually gone to prison,
Yeah.
but these sentences build up and eventually somebody will go to prison. So my
Yeah.
worry, I guess, is that the industry has a longer breath and also has maybe less to fear from the law. And I just want you to tell me that you have more money and more breath and more people than they do. Please tell me that.
Um, I can't tell you we have more money than the animal testing industry because the animal testing industry has so much money. But I can tell you that we have more tenacity and that we have more fight in us. And
That's the word. That's the word I'm looking for.
okay, good.
Tenacity. Okay, please go on. Sorry.
Yeah, we have more fight in us, and between all of us, we will fight until the end. And I know that. I know between all of us that this fight will go on until we shut Marshall down over there in the UK, here in the United States, and we will end the animal testing industry. So for us, I don't think it's a matter of money. And if we do need it, we'll get it. We don't have that kind of money, but we don't need it. We'll get it if we have to have
That's the spirit. That's what I was looking for. Thank you. Thank you for putting my mind at ease.
it.
um, Shannon, two last questions. One is, there used to be a BFP UK, or is that still active? Are you still active in the UK?
um, as an organization, no, we had to close that branch. But we still are ready and able to do whatever we need to do there. I'm happy to dig in and help and do anything over there.
Okay, fair enough. Well, as we said
Yeah.
earlier, we also have the Camp Beagle here, and Animal Rising has been very active there as well. And the very last question is, I don't see a beagle in our frame, Shannon. Do you have one yourself, or do you have any dogs yourself that you would like to know
I
hold into
do.
the camera, or that I
Oh my
can post
It,
later?
I mean, they're still in bed. Maya, Maya,
Tell us, what
Gracie.
do you have?
It's so embarrassing. They're just like, we had to wake up really early. Okay, here comes Maya. All right. You'll see. Come here. Come over here. Come here. Right here. Come here. Oh, come here. Right here. Come closer. Maya. She doesn't fit. Maya, come here.
I just saw a black snout. That's a really good start.
This is my Great Dane,
Hi.
Maya. She's a rescue, of course.
Wow. Of course she's a rescue. Hi, beautiful girl.
Massive. Yeah.
Wow,
And then
look
Gracie
at
here.
her.
Yeah. She's a Great Dane. And then I have a pit bull. And I have a cat and a tortoise.
And the pit bull is still in bed, and the cat is still in bed, and the tortoise is still in his house.
Yeah, I have a great outdoor area for her. She's an outdoor tortoise. I bring her in when it's cold. And I
Bless
have
her.
a cat who's a little old lady now.
Who's also still in bed.
Gracie, come here. I don't know if you can she's down here. She woke up.
Oh, bless. Oh, okay. That's very good. Sweet. Well, I'm so glad we at least saw your beautiful Great Dane. Shannon, is there anything I forgot to ask? Is there anything we should still discuss?
I don't think so. You asked some great questions. I really appreciate it. I appreciate everything that you do and getting the word out about all of this. I think we're on a great pathway to ending animal testing. And, I think that for anybody watching this, I get a lot of questions from people who want to do something and just don't know how to do it, right? They might be listening to this and thinking, okay, well, I don't know what to do. Like I live in middle of nowhere. I don't know a lot of people who are involved in this. Like, what can I do? And the easiest thing to do is to be cruelty free. Because then these companies aren't making money off of your, shopping uh, in a cruel way, meaning like purchasing products that test on animals. So download our app. It's called Cruelty Cutter. It's free. And every time you purchase something, you scan a barcode of any item you want to purchase, and it will tell you if it is tested on animals or not. And you can also share your results. So once a product comes up, if it says it's tested on animals, you can hit the boycott button, and you can also share those results on your social media and with that company saying you did not purchase that product because you still test on animals. And it's a great way to be an activist and to not contribute to animal testing.
And the app works everywhere. I've noticed it here in the UK. It works as
Yep.
well. So it's a brilliant app. It's just
Works in every country.
so useful. It works really well.
Good.
Shannon, thank you so much. I really appreciate your time and everything you do. And if people want to donate or adopt or just get in touch, the website is bfp.org. Please have a look. There's also lots of news on there. And yes, let's free all the beagles.
Yes.
Shannon, thank you so much.
Thank you.
What an incredible story and what an incredible woman. Saving more than 4,000 beagles and countless other animals from a life in these lab hellholes, it really deserves all of our respect and admiration and support. And as you heard, Shannon is definitely not done yet. If anything, it feels like the movement to end animal testing is really gaining momentum. And with Shannon and other leaders, it feels like we could see an end to it in our lifetime. That's all for this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. And hey, have I mentioned to you that I'm on Substack now? I am on Substack, and by I mean Wunderdog, which is mainly me. My dogs aren't really that much help, to be honest. And I am on wunderdog.substack.com, where you can find all my posts, notes, and of course podcasts. Please subscribe. It's free. Although if you want to support my work, which I would be hugely grateful for, you can subscribe for £8 a month or £80 a year. And as a paying subscriber, you get access to our chat where we can discuss pretty much anything at this stage. And as the community grows, there will also be occasional Zoom calls and other little things that I'm currently working on. But that's it for this episode. Thank you so much for listening, and cuddle your dogs from me.